we're ready to go. Alright, so last time we were here, we were building out our base, and we had just automated conveyor slopes. So we still need to do... Hang on, let's pull up crafting. We still need to do balancers, all the fluid-related stuff, and assemblers are the next most urgent things, as well as like smelters and all that stuff. So, I believe the next thing we need to do though is fill out these lines because I've sort of ran out of assemblers. So this is 60 a minute. Our belts can hold, what, 640 a minute? So this is 240, 300, 360, 420. So yeah, we need more assemblers, which we need more xenoferrite plates and electronic components for. I believe last time we were in the middle of a bit of a shortage, which is why I couldn't just run and grab more. But the shortage has been addressed just by letting it cook for a little bit. So let's grab some of those and craft up a bunch of assemblers. We won't need to do this much more because assemblers are very, very close on the list of things I'm automating. But this will have to do for now. Alright, is this fully set up? 24 a minute times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this isn't fully enough Mark III belts. But it's probably fine. Slopes are a little bit more urgent. So let's just bring all of this stuff out. And that's the return belt. And yeah, it should be good. So then we have inputs on all of these. And mid-length inputs on all of them. And then we get outputs. And that's the Mark I slopes. Alright, I need to grab more loaders, which are back here, of course. So let's just grab 2 stacks of those, maybe. Alright, and now that is going to be churning along. So let's then do these ones as well. I don't think we need to expand them out that much, but just for the sake of having large quantities of production of everything, I want to be doing this. So these go in there. Easy enough. These go in the front. And finally, these go in the front. And the outputs come out, which I have to actually run the belt for. Like that. And then, likewise, expand this out a little bit. Hopefully just another 3 will be fine. These produce at a much faster rate than I'm ever going to need slopes. Mostly just expanding this to say that I did, but getting the balancers next is the important part. Those go in. And those go in. Then those go in, and then everything comes out. Alright. So that's that, somewhat done. It's funny, you can look back and see like a couple of the machines turning on in response to all of this, just trickled throughout the factory. So the next step are the balancers. So we need machinery parts, electronic components, and conveyor ones. So how did I get the conveyor ones for this? Did they just come in here? Yes, they did. So we're just going to pop that out and replace it. Then this has to go up and over. So that's conveyor ones. Then we have the machinery parts and electronic components here. So let's take that off of this, I guess. We have to stack them up like that in order for it to line up. Alright, so then we take these out over here somewhere. And then finally the electronic components, which can just slip through here. And we don't need that. Okay, so then these need to twist around to not quite get caught under the slopes. Alright, so now we just need to set up the line. So that goes there. And these will go in. They don't get spaced out pointlessly like that. And you get set to this. And I should have just set one up and then copy pasted it. That's fine. Okay, wait. Actually, we need this as 3 inputs. Yeah, so we need to space this back again. So we need this to go here, I think. And then one of the inputs, we'll say it's this one, has to slope down. And wind up over this way. So let's see if we can get that like that. Alright, excellent. So then there's that, and need a little bit more space over here for that. We also need to put the box in. And then the other 2 inputs come along this way, like there, and like there. So then all that goes in, and that one comes out. So this gets that whole situation in. That one gets its inputs. It gets set to conveyor balancer 1s. And it gets that as an input. And then finally this gets the output. Alright, so that should be filling that up with conveyor balancers. So now we just need to make this a big chunky production line that can work quickly. let's do that. Drag all these belts back. And we do this one. Alright, now we just have to attach them in. So this goes like that, till all of these get them. Alright, then we head around over this way, and they get all of these. And then they get these. And finally, they get the outputs. Alright. Now, how many is this? It's 30 per minute, so that's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270. That's probably fine. And I think I want this to be half of a container, although I'm not sure. Alright, we need more building blocks, which are all the way down here. I need to create like a centralized place to pick up the stuff that I'm using. Fill up the old inventory, get a good couple thousand of those, and head back. Alright, so that's that. And this is filled up. So now these are just filling up their internal stuff. How's Foundry going? It's going quite well. We have made significant progress on our new base, which is very neat and organized at the moment. And we are producing large quantities of everything we need. Alright, so then we have that. The next step is the Mark IIs, which require literally the same things as the Mark Is. Parts, electronic components, and the balancers. So let's just set that up. Wait, we need more space. So we need this belt wraps around like that. Then we have a gap, and then this. So I'm not sure if that's lined up properly. It is. Cool. Alright, so then this gets to be Conveyor Balancer Mark II. And the biggest thing here is 120 again. So we need 40, 360, 480, 600. So we need like 5 of these. Alright, let's just craft a bunch of these so that we don't have to do more of that in the future. 3, 4, 5. Alright, so then these come back here. And just go in like this. Then we need to get these two in. So that goes there, that goes there, and then that one comes back. So we just split off this. And slope it up to get over. Actually, sloping it down probably also is fine. Yeah, that works. jetpack has decided to give up on me. Alright, thank you. I must have clipped the ground, which made it decide to have me land. Alright, so then we take that apart. We need to expand that out. Just be a bit of a floor here. Then we put the balancer in. And then this comes around and in. So now we just hook the machines up. Wait, that's the wrong belts. I hooked them up to the wrong belts. Alright, let's just tear all of this apart. And this is supposed to go there. This is supposed to go there. So let me grab all this stuff off the belt. Alright, problem solved. And now we put all of those on. And we put these in. And the outputs. So then this last one gets an output there and an input there. And again, this only has to be like half a container. Should be fine enough. Alright, the machinery parts are once again sort of in crisis. Is there an actual problem here that we can solve, or is it just that they're being used in like 5 different places? I think it's just that they're being used in like 5 different places. There are a full belt here. And then some of them are going in here for Mark 1 belts. Yeah. So that's fine. Unfortunately, not all that much we can do about that. But it'll back up and work itself out. Probably need to add a second belt of machinery part production at some point. But it's not a crisis as it is. So then finally we need conveyor balancers Mark 3s, which is the Mark 2s, machinery parts, advanced, and circuit boards. So these are the circuit boards and the advanced machinery parts. So let's just grab these. Bit of a floor there for us to use. And just poke a hole there. And we put the splitters there, and then we have to put another balancer here. Like that, and then get rid of the extra ones. Alright, so then we just have to grab more. Did I place that right? I did. Alright, we need to grab more Mark III belts. Is that? No, that's slopes. Grab another couple stacks of those. Alright. So now, we need to get the machinery parts to come around here. And the circuit boards to do the same, but obviously much higher up. And then we just need to put this in. Or something like that, I think. Yeah, something like that. So that belt loops around that way. That goes there. This actually needs to be there to line up. Alright, then those go like that, and that, and that. and now these go in. I just drag the plane down all the way. Alright, like that works. Alright, then we attach everything up. So that gets a short input and a medium input and a short input over here. And we call that conveyor balancer Mark III's. And finally that gets an input there and an output there. Now I just need a couple of these. How many do I need? So like 11 or so to deal with all of the advanced machinery parts. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 11. Alright, so now we just put the belts in. So that belt goes that way. That belt comes along that way. And this one goes back. That one comes along this way. And now we put just the loaders and we will be done with all of the basic belt supplies. Alright, so those are all in. Then we head around here. And these all go in. Just the short belts on the close one. Then we put the medium belts in. And now these can start producing, which is quite fun. Alright, and then finally, the outputs. And done. Alright, and that is Mark III conveyor balancers all set up and ready to go. As long as all of these internal stuff can keep up, that should be plenty. Alright, so next, gosh, we really are right up against this mountain, aren't we? Well, time to rotate, I guess. My profit is becoming more consistent. Yes, it has. Oh, and thank you for reminding me. I need to put a research in and use some of the Thermalite to buy stuff. The reason the profit is becoming more consistent is that at this point we're like selling. We have enough production to sell like all the stuff we have the option to sell every single hour, which means that it's going to be about the same every time. Right, so I can buy an upgrade there, and then station upgrades, construction drone bay. We do this. Yeah, we can do this, and then that'll make future upgrades go much quicker. So it'll be very convenient in the future. Alright, so we have all that. All this is running. How is it looking? It's all looking fine in terms of backlogs. And I almost fell again. It's the machinery parts that are being a bit of a problem. They don't have the output speed to keep up. Now we have a good amount of that. And they're using all of our plates. It's just like the physical amount that we can fit on a belt is not that many. So, how do we fix this, we could just add a second belt of output, which would help a little bit. The problem is then that would just drain this stockpile faster, which wouldn't really be productive. But it probably wouldn't be terrible. So if we use that little bit of space in there to squeeze a second output belt in, and then this slope up even fit. No, how do we even get this out? How do we get this out? Wait, I have an idea. If we put a balancer there... Well, no, that doesn't work, because we have to get that out anyways. Alright. Let's put that back in the way it was. Finish that research. Now we can research robot components, which is going to unlock a whole bunch of new stuff, like Science Pack 5s. How do we sneak this out? We can... Oh, we can get it under here. And then go up from this spot. Or... Is that a belt on the floor there? Yes, it is. Alright, so this can go up now. Over this way. And we just need to take this over to somewhere the machinery components are struggling with. So it can go here. And I think we're going to just merge it into that one, is the plan. You go underneath that pipe, and probably would make more sense to go above the pipe, but whatever. So you get up here, and then that attaches in. Why is that? Okay, because it's facing that way. So then this comes along there. Now we can output the machinery parts twice as fast. Ish. Not quite twice as fast, but close. Which should at least help with the problem. And now we just need to worry about the machinery part production not keeping up, which is the larger concern, but unfortunately not one that's nearly as simple to deal with. So that is just going. We would basically need to upgrade all of this, the plate production as well, up to multiple belts worth, in order to also upgrade the machinery parts to multiple belts worth. I think just having it able to output more quickly will be fine, though. Like, this is clearly worlds better than what it was. And this is about to be finished. And once this is finished, probably these long chains of things requiring machinery parts won't happen quite as much, hopefully. Alright, so then the next thing we need are the... Of course the assemblers require machinery parts. So this is another chain of stuff, but the Mark IIIs require Thermalite sheets, which we're going to need to bring onto the Foundation. So assembler ones are plates, machinery parts, and electronic components. Okay, so that's another 3 input ones, so that needs to have a good amount of clearance. And this time all of the inputs are coming along this way. Alright, so then that goes along. And how many of these are we going to need? Assembler ones. Uses more than 100 of a couple things. Alright. Not doing the math, we probably need 6. So let's manual craft some assembler 2s for the last time, hopefully. Let's just finish off all that we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the belts go across and back. And what was it? Plates, machinery parts, electronic components. Alright, these things again. So you get cut off. And this needs to slope up. Why did I hit tab? So that goes up and over. And down. Machinery parts, check. Electronic components are the next one. Pop you out. And you have to go up. And around like this. And then up again. And then we need to come around here and down and in. And then finally we need plates. Alright, xenoferrite plates, where are you? Shouldn't be too far back. Yeah, here they are. Right, it's a bit of a crowded setup over here, so we take those out. Put that in. And off we go. Actually, like a brilliant, nice, clean shot all the way over. Bring them to around there. Actually, a bit further back than that. They need to get up and over those. And then in there. Alright, so now we just put the belts in. Second belts in. And output belts in, and we'll head around the back to do the last inputs. And I've just messed this up entirely. These need to be one further back. So this needs to be back here in order to have the space for the loaders, which means this gets to do that. Easy enough fix. And now all of these go in. and boom. Alright, then these get their input-output pair. And that's that. The machinery parts seem to have stopped entirely. Looks like we are just running low on the stockpiles of those, which is unfortunate but also very predictable. So at least the plates are backing up, and that the plate backing up is definitely not helping the machinery part supply. Maybe finished that research. So now we can get assembly lines, I guess. Start researching that. And see, that's just trickling through, which is not ideal. We definitely need to address this now. Alright, so this is not getting enough plates because the plate supply is limited by a single belt. So we can fix that the same way we fixed the other one. So put a second belt on here. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get this out without moving existing stuff. Yeah, we're going to have to probably just take this belt and just sort of twist it around to give space. Yeah, let's do that. So this belt can't go there because this belt is coming through. And then that will head back down to get out of the way. So this Technum belt can go up this way and around and in, like that. Alright, so then this, I don't have the long handled loaders, not sure when I run out of those. Give me a stack of both of those, because we're running low. So, the plates now go out onto that as well. And then that can wrap around in there. And so now we can make a full belt's worth of machinery parts and also have a full belt of plates going that way. Which almost solves the problem, but not quite. So what we need really is more of this. So how much? Yeah, so this is 30 in to 45 out. So we can actually get more than a full belt's worth. Get some advanced smelters. So what we can do is, so we need to first do more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so we can fit in a couple more of these. 4, 5, 6. I think that will be it. And then those get fed plates from back here. So we also need to put in these advanced smelters. So let's get a whole bunch of these in. And how much is that? 45 each, so that's 90, 180, 270 should be fine, probably. And now we run that along there, that back there. So these all get these inputs. And they all get the second lane outputs. Alright, so that's good. And then what we need to do is somewhere around here. 2, 4, 6, somewhere around here, let's say. Maybe even here. Take that out. We slip in a splitter. Now we can take this around to feed these machines directly. Now, what I think we need to do is sort of awkward. We need to like run that belt in facing the opposite way. Just in order for this to work. Actually, what we can do is take that one out and put it over there instead, and then use this gap. So we can put that there. And then this doesn't need to twist around that way. It is... Don't put it facing backwards, that would be silly. This comes around here. And in. So now, that can go that way. This can come back in that way, and we need more belts. Let me grab more belts. Where are the belts? Right here. Alright, gonna grab 800 of those. Starting to hit Factorio spaghetti space constraint problems. Yep, that is definitely what's happening. Doing decently well at mitigating it, I think. Like coming up with clever ways of avoiding it. Alright, so then these all get fed here. And they all output there. And that will help significantly. Ooh, construction drone bays extension has happened. So let's do construction drones. I think we need more of this, do we? Let's get more thrusters. Just so that our ships can go very quickly. Alright, so now actually set this up almost perfectly where we have one more smelter than we can use. So we're now using all of the crushed stuff. So theoretically, this should... Yes, now the problem is we also need this to be an output. So that has to come like that. And slope up. Is that tall enough to fit there? No. So we need to shift this over ever so slightly to fill some space. So that goes there. Hotkey slopes up. And then up again. And then comes over here and along. Alright, now that we're here, I haven't thought this far ahead. I have definitely not thought this far ahead. How am I going to get this into the box? I guess we could go there and slope like that. Does that work? No, it doesn't. Sure would have been marginally less terrific looking if that had worked. Alright, so then that just does that and into the box. Now we have that, and with this using all of those plates, it is. So we need to expand this even more to be 2 full mounts basically. 120, 180, 240, 300, 360. So let's get in more of these. Need to craft more assemblers. I finished the research. Ooh, look at all these robots that I can unlock. Let's unlock Science Pack 5. Not that I'm going to do anything with it, but I will have it unlocked. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, then we run these belts along and put the inputs in. And the outputs come out. And obviously none of these are getting any materials. Means we need to increase this even more. Why are these not all producing? Okay, so this is hitting the plate limit approximately for a single belt. Okay, that's probably fine. So let's get more advanced smelters. And stop placing them in weird spots like that. Just expand out what we've been doing. Alright, then that expands out like that. And does that. Alright, now all of these get their inputs. And now they all get their outputs. So hopefully that will be enough. We're now running a whole lot of these machines. And this, it's only getting half of the belt. Because the other half is going down this way, I guess. It's probably fine. So we've definitely improved the machinery part production a lot. Yeah, it's even filling up now. Alright, so that's that. And hopefully that will hold us for quite some time. In the meantime, we have these all produced up. Yeah, that's why it's backing up, because we've just about finished using the machinery parts. Alright, so the next up is Assembler 2, which is just Assembler 1 and Advanced Machinery Parts. In the meantime, I need machinery parts and xenoferrite plates, more specifically. So let's head all the way back over here to where we were. And grab a couple stacks of those. Yeah, plates are in short supply again. You really need like a better way of storing these. Okay, let's see. Yes, the problem is that like the way the belts prioritize outputs is not convenient. Well, it's also possible to just pop you out another splitter in there. And that should work better, I think. We just need enough going this way that this should be given a full belt. In fact, I'm just going to prioritize that way. Gives it not quite a full belt because we don't have the ore to keep up with all of this. Unsurprising. These are the crushers, right? So what if I just made a bunch of crusher 2s and upgraded all of these with those? Would that help at all? Probably not. It looks like it is. Looks like it's a throughput problem again. So, way to solve throughput problems is it's not easy. I think the way we solve it is to give up. Let's just not worry about it. It'll fix itself eventually. Alright, so we get all the way over here. And now we need to pivot to not run into the mountain. But we also need to pick up more supplies. So building blocks and slopes, which are going to be right back here where I was just a moment ago. Building blocks are probably this one. Let's do all those. And now we head over here to grab the slopes. That's Mark 1, that's Mark 2, this is Mark 3. Let's see, I don't need a battery. I'll grab some slopes instead. Alright, so now we can expand over this way. And just, I think at this point we go this way, and the main throughput stuff will be here, and the production will go out that way. That seems fine. So let's expand this. And something like that. Alright, so we need just assembler Mark IIs. So we need advanced machinery parts and assembler Mark Is, which are right there. Alright, advanced machinery parts. Nice foundation there. Put that in. And then this comes along here. And then that comes along there. And we have to go a bit of a journey over here in order to get to the new sections. And then we put in a logistics container, which apparently we don't have, so let's craft a couple more of those. And that will go there, I guess. And don't put in random unnecessary gaps. Those go in, and tell them to make assembler Mark IIs, which has lots of advanced machinery parts, not much of anything else. So let's just get 4 of those in, and then it's just 2 inputs and an output. One input, that's 2 inputs. And I didn't grab loaders. Why did I not grab loaders? Pretty sure I specifically went over here to grab them and then just didn't. Alright, I'm just going to grab the 200 out of that, because apparently we need a lot of these. And then we head back over here. So then loaders go in. And more loaders go in. And output comes out. Then we just do it like that. And that is our assembler tubes. And we don't need full box. Let's go with half a box. Should still be more than we can ever realistically need. Alright, so we have all that. Assembler Mark IIs automated. In order to get assembler Mark IIIs, we need Thermalite sheets, which are not going to be super easy to get, but also not terribly difficult. We're definitely going to need to do it anyways, so let's head over to the input cargo shuttles and see which of these we can designate for Thermalite sheets. How about this one? Thermalite sheet supplier. now we just need to get a supply of thermalite sheets, which I'm pretty sure we have a whole lava smelter set up over here. So I think we're just gonna head back over here and slap a cargo shuttle on that. Let's see, what do we need for that? Steel beams and advanced machinery parts. Right, we should probably grab those while we're here. Steel beams and advanced machinery parts. Right, here are the steel beams. Grab those. And there we go. So we can start crafting that. And then head on over. So we just gotta fly over this mountain range and find that whole lava smelter setup thing that we had and probably expand it. Probably needs to be expanded in order to keep up. Alright, there's the cave exit there. So we go in here and we go down to the lava cave and we see what this looks like. Down we go. And zipping along. Alright, I forgot how long these elevator rides are. Alright, so first of all, these are obviously not running on full speed belts, but I just need to see how much it's even producing in the first place. 10 a minute each. Yikes. That is not incredible. So I need thermalite bars and thermalite sheets in order to make lava smelters, and I'm definitely going to be making lava smelter 2s. I just need to be a little faster than that. So let's grab a bunch of these, and then grab a bunch of these. Requires 50 of them. Grab that. Yeah, that should work. I need more steel beams and advanced machinery parts for that, which I don't have. But at least we can place down one of these. And what's the difference? 20 to 20 versus 10 to 10. So it's literally twice as fast, but still pretty slow. Okay, so we're gonna need like 20 or 30. We're gonna need more than 30 of those. Jeez, that's gonna take ages to set up. At least if we want significant speed. We're also gonna need to remove these belts fast. So those belts get upgraded. Let's see, we have the freight elevator, which we need a second one in our inventory, which we can't afford because it needs steel beams like everything. Alright, so we're gonna have to head up. We can use the old base to restock instead of having to fly all the way back to the new base. All right. Up we go. Science Pack 5 is finished. Let's unlock combat bots. Sure, that sounds fun. Alright, so for the lava smelters, we need steel beams and advanced machinery parts. Let's grab a bunch of those. Okay, so there's the steel beams. Then the advanced machinery parts are all the way over here. Alright, so we have those, and now we can make 3 lava smelters, but we need more thermalite bars in order to do anything with them, in order to make them the advanced kind. So let's grab more thermalite bars. It should be in one of these, probably this one. Give me some of those. And craft them all. Then start crafting those, and we need more sheets. Where do we end up putting the sheets from this? To just send them over here directly into machines so we don't have a stockpile anywhere? Fantastic. Alright. Well, that's still ultimately fine. Just need to place all of these. And what else do I need? I have belts, I have loaders, I have slopes. Probably fine. So let's head back down. Back down to the lava cave. Probably getting a full Mark III belt out of this is just unreasonable anyway. We're going to do what we can. I forgot to set a new purchase on the space station. That's a bit of a time loss there. Alright. Oh, and I forgot to do that, but fortunately I have the resources to do it anyway. So you're upgraded, and then you are upgraded. Alright, so the freight elevators are upgraded. That is all good to go. Now we just need to place more of these. And it would be really convenient if I could place them in a nice organized way. But I don't think that I can. I think they're just gonna be weird. At least in relation to the old set. So that line just goes along this way, and they have to be fully on lava. Let's hook these ones that we have first. So this belt goes along this way. And that needs to be upgraded. I don't know why it didn't. So all of those are upgraded now. So this just continues going this way and runs along there past all of those. Then the output, why did I have it face that way? The output comes back here and runs along there. Alright, so now we just have to hook all of these up to inputs. And then hook all of them up to outputs. And this is like weirdly quiet. But all of these seem to be working. At least as much as they can when the output is not being used at all. And how much is this? 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 100, 110. Let's at least get this up to 120. Just so that it's something of a nice round number. So that has to fit in there, which is unfortunate and weird. Alright, so then that just goes like that, and like that. And the input and the output. Alright, so now we have a nice even 120 Thermalite sheets. Assuming that the power grid can manage it. Which I don't even know which one of these it is. It doesn't say. They might not even require power. This might literally... Yeah, they don't. This is literally just for the loaders. Okay, we're fine then. Alright, so lava sheets... Thermalite sheet upgrade success. So now we just need to export them into the cargo shuttles. Up back to the ground level. Right, here we are. Now we need to find a spot for a cargo shuttle in this mess. Let's just put it up above all of this. So change that to drag mode to horizontal. And that should be enough space. Cargo shuttle start pad. It works there, I guess. And we need to put in the rest of the foundation for it. So let's do that. And now it should just be no power, which we can fix by simply doing that. And this should be functional, and set the destination to Thermalite sheet supplier. And now we just need to get the sheets up there. So let's take that out, put in a merger, splitter, whatever these are called, balancer, called balancers. And now we get to slope it up, get rid of the random plant that's in the way, and continue sloping it up. Then failed to place that correctly. We go out of the way. And this just continues on up. This should be around the right level, I think. Yeah, just about. So then that goes up there. And now we just need to feed that, and then all of these. So these get 4 outputs. These get 4 intakes. And then the belts just run across. Like so. And now that should fill up with Firmolite sheets and eventually take off and supply them to our new factory. Alright, so I call that progress. So this little guy has apparently a quest. Probably we've done a bunch of stuff. Underground mining.
A more advanced form of mining? Ore veins buried deep? Underground mining sounds exciting. Let's get started on that project.
Alright, sure. And then apparently that research is finished.
Great. The assembly line blueprints were acquired.
Assembly line.
Let's start building the assembly line together. It's going to be an exciting project.
Sure. And then start build assembly line.
Agreed. If we get an assembly line to work, the possibilities are endless.
Alright. Cool. That's, yeah, we'll worry about that later. In the meantime, let's unlock Freight Elevator 3, I guess. Be handy to have. Alright, what are we doing? Right, we have the Firmolite sheets here. We should also, while we're in the area, we should check this whole production line to make sure that nothing weird is going on here. Yeah, it's still just not outputting enough. We don't have enough sales to keep up with all of the production. So let's see. We can get medium cargo ship support. Is there anything we can do in here? I guess additional trade licenses will be helpful. We're going to need those to sell to more places. And I assume we already have sales to every place reasonable. Alright, no, we have a couple more spots we can go. To send our light bots, although that's the only place that actually needs them right now. Alright, that will be something that we continue to work on expanding. In the meantime, let's head back to the base, and hopefully this will fill up soon. Should be halfway or more, right? Yep, it's more than halfway. So we could just count on that to show up eventually. And now we head up. Over the mountain. And all the way over to the ocean. So we are almost here. And alright, we've just about made it. so now we just need to expand out to this section, which we barely have the foundations for. So then we put that in. It gets intakes. This gets outputs. We run the world's shortest belts, and actually we physically can't do this close with all of these in place beforehand. So I'm gonna have to put these in one at a time. And one more. Intake, belt, intake, that has to be an output. Alright, so now this box can give us a supply of Thermalite sheets. So this, really no reason to mess around with the freight elevators. Let's just bring it up like normal. Alright, so this goes up and along. So now this comes along more. It sure is a long trip. Surprised that that's only 100 belts. Not going to complain though. Alright, so then this needs to go over. Actually, I don't want it to go around that like that, because that would make it more annoying to access the terminal. So we're going to go around the back. And now we need to resupply. So let's grab some more belts. And what I need to do is create like a single spot where all the commonly used things are. So I don't have to constantly be running up and down across the entire length of the factory to grab belts. Alright, so now we have these. The sheets can go along this way. This is a decent spot to put them. Just nice and wide out of the way of stuff. Alright, then this continues to come along. And all the way over here. Alright, now we just need to craft more logistics containers. Just get another bunch of those. And our probably last ever Mark II assemblers that we place. So this takes 3 inputs, which this just barely fits. That's 1 input, 2 inputs, 3 inputs, and 1 output. So we need circuit boards as well as these 2. So that loops around like that. This comes down into there, and we need to grab circuit boards. Conveniently pretty close. So let's just pop some of those out. And put the splitter in. And carry these along. So let's bring them all the way over here. And in. Alright, it's a bit of a long journey, but they should make it. And now we just have to put these in. So you get that, and that, and that. Then that has to be placed in a more sensible location. And it gets an input and an output. This is, yeah, oh, that is in the correct direction somehow. I thought I did it wrong, but I didn't. Alright, that. Save the settings. Did. Let's just place a couple of those. And why does this use 300 thermalite sheets per minute? Alright, so I guess we only need 3 of these. And we're never going to use more than, like, 1 except on extreme circumstances. But that will be good. And those get those. And those. And the outputs all go there. And then these two get the inputs as well. Alright, and that will be... yeah, these are hilariously expensive. I don't need that many. Let's go 4 stacks. 40 is still a lot. Plus, technically it's more like 70. Alright, so that's that. And we have assembler Mark IIIs for the first time. Although our poor Thermalite sheet supply is not going to be happy with it. 300 a minute. Yeah, that certainly is something. Alright, so we have those. Then, what else would we want? Maybe just logistics containers, but probably not. I think at this point, we probably have all of these, like, default buildings that we need. Maybe fluid assemblers. Maybe fluid assemblers would be fine to automate, but probably not, honestly. Probably unnecessary, and the rest of the stuff we can just craft when we need it, which is not frequently. Alright, so that is pretty good. So then the next step is to, I guess, figure out what we need to do for the next tech level. All sorts of combat, all sorts of components and stuff in there. So for Science Pack 5, we need robot parts, hydraulic pistons, and CPUs. So what's all this? Robot parts, hydraulic pistons, CPUs. Alright, so those are probably going to be in here. In components. So CPUs require telexite wafers and alumic acid and polymer boards, which we have. Robot parts require a bunch of stuff that we have. And hydraulic pistons require low-density alumite, which I think we have? No, I think we made liquid polymer. Alright, so we're going to need to set up some of these things. But the telexite... where was that in the CPUs? The telexite wafers. That is something that we haven't worked with. Requires liquid telexite, which apparently we haven't researched, although it might just be a raw resource. And then once we do that, we will have researched everything there is to research, and we can start... Oh, here it is, in metallurgy. Telexite ore, make ingots, and alright. None of this is horrifically overly complicated. So we are very, very close, actually. Although we're going to have to re-automate the previous science packs, which requires energy cells and thermalite sheets, neither of which should be a huge problem. Alright, it looks like this finished, and right at almost the perfect time, we are almost entirely out of thermalite sheets. Alright, so I think that the next thing I want to do is to create a central storage space for all of the things that I use a lot, which will be those, and belts, and building blocks, and loaders, and all that stuff. And I think that can just go here in this space, probably. First, let's grab some building blocks so that we can make this. And this one. We grab a bunch of those. And let's fill in over here. Alright, so this space here is going to be what we use for this. So basically what we need to do is just figure out what exactly we need and just have boxes for all of those. So let's get these in. And I think I want them to be back to back like this. Although maybe having them side by side would be more convenient just for seeing them. Alright, so let's try to figure out. We have... Yeah, we're actually going to need quite a few of these, I think. So let's start with these, just because they are physically right here. So that goes all the way down there and in. And then this can store 4 slots of them. And so that will technically cause thermalite sheet shortages, as usual. Okay, but actually, I've never used the data cables. I bet I could do something cool with those to, like, fit more stuff and not waste 90% of all these boxes. So where's the data cables? They're down here. It looks like they mostly need polymer boards. Let's head over and grab some of those. Alright, so you get 2 stacks of those. Should be hopefully enough. Alright, so what I want to do is... how do I even do this? Data source recipe, processor, evaluator. Just give me some data cables. Alright, how does this work? All right. Yeah, actually, how on earth does this function? I think. Okay, we're gonna need more of these. Crafted a good couple of them, and then connect that up. So, signals. Alright. Data cable system tutorial. How it works. They're an object you can build. Automatically connect to all surrounding data cables. Each signal has a value. So, open the tablet pointed at the machines and press the hotkey to open the configuration frame. Okay. So I just need to look at that and Alt left mouse button to open this. Enable based on condition. So you would be, where is it? The Assembler Mark IIIs. Assembler Mark IIIs is less than 40. All right, let's test if that works. So currently it's 40. So if I give you more of those, then nothing happens. But if I were to take that out, then it would fill up to 40 and then stop. Fantastic. So that's pretty good. Then we can fit multiple things into one box. So then the next thing I want to fit into that box are the loaders and unloaders. So that can, those all go like that. And give more data cables. Have some of these. Alright, so then this is, I finished a research. Let's put in a farmer robot, I guess. So it's Alt left mouse button. Enable based on condition. And this is loader first lane is less than probably 100. Oh, it's got to be under constant. And then this one, actually, can I shift right mouse button, put those settings there, and then just change that to loader second lane, and just change this to loader, no, not second lane, loader third lane. Alright, so this should theoretically then fill up with how many stacks? 4 stacks of assemblers, 2 stacks each of the loaders, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, and then there'll be some space left over, but that's fine. So let's head over to the loaders to grab them out of this whole mess. And how on earth am I going to do that? Alright, I have an idea. Might not work, but it's worth a shot. So we have that. Then we have that needs to be set up to have, these need to be set up to have outputs onto these belts. And then we just need to slope them up. No, not quite. Alright. Alright, new idea. Slope them down. We are building high up for a reason. This is the break glass in case of emergency logistics solution. Ah, I've trapped myself. Hang on. But even this isn't probably gonna work. Alright, so let's do that. But if we take that out, then I'm pretty sure that there is a loader on top, which is not going to be happy about it. Also, how do I get back from here? This is something that I did not consider. Alright, we can just go around the edge like that. Alright, are any of these loaders upset? No, they all look fine, actually. That's good. So then we can do the same thing here. So we take all that stuff out. Now we have to get underneath of this in order to fit ourselves in. And then we just need to get this one out, which we can just do the normal way, I guess. Although, actually just getting it under and bringing it over that way would probably be easier anyways. Alright, so let's dig all that out, send you down, and down. Alright, now these just need to curve around and start heading this way. So have that, and this one. And one more. Alright, so now these can just make their way all the way over to that area. So they're gonna have to curve that way. So over this way they go. And this is probably around the right vicinity. Yep, it is. So now we just have to get the others over here and then probably restock on conveyor belts at some point. Alright, so then one more. And we bring these on over. And yep, time to restock on conveyor belts, as expected. should be one of these. It's exactly this one, in fact. Alright, just get some of this stuff out of my inventory. Actually, that's useful. What else do I have that I don't need? I have Mark II conveyor slopes, a whole bunch of Mark II belts. That's probably the biggest culprit. That's like 3 stacks there. Some Mark I belts in there for some reason. Some Mark I freight elevators. Alright, that's enough space. I'm going to go up to 800 belts. And back over here. Alright, so these continue moving along this way. And somewhere there-ish, let's put these in. And we need to figure out which one goes into where. So this is, I believe, 1, 2, 3. Alright, yeah, there's one of those, as expected. Alright, then this is 1. So this would have to go... Okay. We need to... that. And send that over just to give it some space. And in. Then we loop around this way. And this one is... I actually cannot tell. So, yeah, so this is the second lane, that's the third lane. So this comes along here and in there. And then this one comes along here. And in there. And... Alright, that's 2. Alright. And then there come the third lane conveyor slopes. Alright, that's good. That is 1 box that is doing the work of 4. And we can just probably even squeeze another 1 or 2 in, honestly. So let's see, what else do we need? This would be a reasonable spot to put conveyor slopes and balancers. So let's just grab some of those. Let's see, I believe these are the balancers. Yes, so these are the balancers, so we just need this to loop around and get out. Speaking of conveyor slopes, we are going to need some soon. Alright, so this just comes along this way. And wraps over there. And then that slopes down. And now this just has to loop around like that. And let's see, we need this to get and intake, but we've messed it up, of course. So that does that. Finished another research. Let's start another research. Unlocking all sorts of fun robot types. So this is Alt left mouse button, enable based on condition, and it is balancer Mark III is less than what's it going to be? 25 is in a stack. Yeah, so we need to grab those out. Now we have a whole bunch of bouncers in our inventory accidentally, which is fine. And we can squeeze one more in. Hang on. So what we can do is we need this to wrap in like that. So then the next one can go in like that. And get a cable in. And V Alt left mouse button, enable based on conditions. This is going to be, what is it? What are they called? Slopes. Conveyor slope Mark III, less than 50. Alright, now we just need to grab the conveyor slopes, bring them in here. Conveyor slopes, where are you? Is this you right here? Yes, it is. Alright, let's grab a stack of those first, because we actually need them. Alright, then we need to get this out of all this mess. And I guess just go this way and then start sloping up. That should be enough height for now. Go further up to get over that, and then we just turn this way. And now we just have to get this the last little bit of the way, so we can go out to there, and then down there and in. Alright, so that is another one of those. And look at all those slopes coming in. Alright, it's beautiful. So we could fit more of these in. However, that would involve not having a nice, clean access to this side, so I don't think I'm going to. I think that box is just going to stay like that. How are Thermalite sheets going, by the way? Almost. Probably another batch. We'll have that all backed up. So that's nice. Then, what else do we need? We need lots and lots of belts and building blocks. So let's get those over here as well. Those are the things I need most of, probably. So doing all this has caused a lot of chaos. We've obviously drawn on a lot of different types of things recently. let's find building blocks. First of all, that's these. Can this escape? Yes, barely. Alright, so that is out, and now we have pretty much free reign to just go up as far as we need to. And this can just go all the way over this way. And here. And sure, something like that. Doesn't matter the exact positioning. But now this comes down. Not too far though. Have to get over into this free navigation space first. Alright, so then that just goes in there. And apparently we are still have some height, so let's solve that with slope down and inserter. And I think I still want this to be nice and organized, so enable based on condition block is less than something big, like 2,000 maybe? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 2,000. So that would be slightly more than half, which is probably fine. And then the other one in here can be the belts. So, belts. Which one of you are just regular old belts? Here you are, regular old belts. Alright, so this has to escape, and it's looking like that might be a little bit tricky. Okay, I have a plan. I think we can get out to like here. And then go up this way. And then across there. Yeah, that'll work. Alright, so then these come out. And they go all the way over here. Before going up a little bit to get over all this. And speaking of belts, I've run out of them apparently at this exact moment. So let's grab a couple stacks of those. And that's this one here. So then this comes along here. Very awkwardly have to get around to this side of the building blocks just in order to have space to go around there. And then as far down as they'll go. And in. That is just about to hit its 2,000 mark. Let's drag that back so we can set this up preemptively. so then you get enable based on condition. What are they called? Conveyors? Mark III conveyor is less than what, probably 800 is what I frequently end up taking. So you do that, and in you go. Why is this still running? Building blocks less than 2,000. It's more than 2,000. Hello? Am I crazy? Can I not do math? Or like, why is this still filling? What do you think? The building block signal is? Oh, of course, because it's not connected into this box yet, so we just need to do that. And let's see, what do we not need? Don't need a distillation column or 3 drone miners. The lava smelters are kind of expensive, so I'm just going to keep those for that reason. Don't need 2 advanced smelters. We don't need this random biomass. So let's just empty that down to its recommended level. And now that can fill up with belts. Alright. We now have a nice organized way of getting most of the things we need. Not all of them, but most of them are stored in just these couple of boxes. I'm gonna wait for that to fill up and stop. Success. Alright. So now we have that. Then what other things do we need to have here? So, okay, we have no active research. Let's do more robot research and head over to upgrade the space station stuff more. Head over and do that. Right, R&D lab. Light bots are better again. Transport bots are better again. Cool. Making progress there. So then the next thing we need is probably more hangar bays for more ships. And then we need to find one of these places that takes light bots. Let's do you. And assign a ship to it. Sure, you can do that. And then you can take all the light bots you need. And in the meantime, you should also buy another one of those. Set you to allow recurring market orders. Alright, so that's that. And while that's running, and that's all running, what else do we need to do? I mean, it would certainly be helpful to expand firmlight production more. That's something we obviously desperately need. And I don't see any... I It's been a while since I've seen any Thermalite actually show up. Probably just shows up in like giant rare bursts because of how little we produce of it. But I should go over there and investigate just to make sure that that is actually what's happening. And not that there's some problem. So yeah, you're just a drop-off pad. Nothing suspicious here. Let's head over to the Thermalite sheet stuff and see what's going on. Right. Heading on over. And then I think once we do that, I think we start looking at some new assembly line related things. Like the mega structures or whatever they're called. Modular buildings. I can't remember what they're called, but the big things that require more effort to do. Because then we can start working on that sort of thing, and that'll be fun. Alright, so this is you, and you are getting a very occasional. Very occasional. Why is that so rare? Is it because... I think I know what's happening. So this is where all the Thermalite bars are coming from. And it's not super great. So what I should actually do is spaceships. I have 2 ships only on planetary shipping. I need more of that. So what? And certainly I need these to be faster. So let's sell. Okay. Deassign. Sell you. Buy tier 2 set to planetary shipping. And then do the same thing with this other one once it stops being queued for deassignment and actually becomes deassigned. Which is taking a weirdly long amount of time. Like, long enough that we're going to get... Alright, no, it happened. Alright, cool. So we can sell that. And buy a tier 2. Set it to planetary shipping. And then once this station construction comes through, we can assign even more to it. And where? That was this one over here, right? Yeah. So that. Set you to allow tier 2s. And move 200 at a time. Currently no cargo ship inbound. Probably we just need to buy more ships for planetary shipping. Alright, so we got that. Now we can buy another one of these and planetary shipping. Congratulations. Our planetary shipping capacity has increased drastically since just a moment ago. Now we can output all of these. And if we could go a little faster, thank you. And that's going up here to do something science related. Yeah, something science related indeed. Which does mean we're going to have to actually transport the bars themselves over to the new base once we want to get science set up again. It's bridged across later. Alright, so that should help. That should help a lot. There's not much we can do, but that is something. And now this is moving Thermalite like crazy. We basically have an infinite supply of Thermalite as long as our sales continue to be profitable. But why is this only outputting half of a belt? Kind of weird. Who knows? Not me, that's for sure. But we should now have a renewed supply of Thermalite sheets, which should have all that working. It'll just probably take a while for it to trickle through, but hopefully that will make a big difference. Yeah, and this was more than halfway full, so it won't be too long. Alright, so then the next thing we need to do is figure out what our next big project is going to be. I think I want it to be more sales related, because we are currently not able to sell all of our light bots, and we can improve that by just having more different things to sell. So let's see, robots, farmer robots, combat robots, miner robots, and we're about to unlock personal assistant robots as well. And let's see, we have all this. We could do the long-range scanner, or the radio tower. We've unlocked the personal assistant robot. Let's put in science robot, and also do an upgrade of the space station. So I guess, yeah, tier 1 medium support will be helpful at some point in the future. Now, what was I doing? So we could set up long-range scanner radio tower base, or we could just go straight into the fancy robot production. Let's see, what do we actually need to do? The ore vein miner is something we haven't done. All the assembly line stuff. This is going to be necessary to make the giant robot, I assume. Which seems very complicated. Let's check, because some of these probably have demand for giant robots. Yeah, so this has 48 farmer robot demand. That has nothing. That has 48 farmer robot demand. That has 48 miner robot demand. So if we do farmer robots, we can get a good 96 out of them just on our trade routes that we already have. That's pretty good. But let's do that. How does one make a farmer robot? Robot parts, xenoferrite plates, barrels, energy cells. Robot parts, CPUs, polymer boards. Robot parts, hydraulic pistons, xenoferrite plates. Robot parts, hydraulic pistons, xenoferrite plates. Okay, this is going to be complicated. I can tell just by looking at it that this is not going to be easy to set up. Largely because we just simply haven't automated robot parts at all. And we could also get Science Pack 5s set up with robot part automation, which would give us max speed conveyor belts, among other things. Which seems like that would be also quite handy to have. So we might just go straight to that. We might just make robot parts and hydraulic pistons and then CPUs, which is going to require telexite. But other than that, nothing too crazy. So let's get telexite set up. So we are going to need to not have hundreds of stacks of balancers. We need inventory space. Alright, so we have inventory space a little bit now. Get rid of another stack of loaders that we don't really need. So what do we need for this? We need a cargo shuttle. Actually, is telexite? No, it's an ore, right? Metallurgy, telexite ore, yes. So we need a start pad, which requires 200 steel beams. Let's just grab those real quick right from here. Alright, so that is crafted. Then we need a bunch of solar panels, which is going to require xenoferrite plates, which I also conveniently have a box of here. Let's just get 6 of those. I think 3 batteries is... No, those are small batteries. I need large batteries. Let's find some energy cells. Where are they? Around here somewhere. I think more here. Yes, energy cells. Let's grab a stack of those. And add a 3rd large battery onto our list of things and move all those small batteries. Then we need to make some drone miners. And what else do we need? We have lots of building blocks. We have... Oh, we need some power poles. So let's get those. And the amount of cables we have should be fine. I'll make a couple extra just to be sure. We have 1 logistics container. Let's add a 2nd. And see, am I forgetting anything? If I'm forgetting anything, I will grab just another stack of xenoferrite plates. Alright, now to find telexite. Yeah, I could have sworn I saw... Yeah, there's a vein there. Although I don't know what to do with the vein. Could have sworn there was like all sorts of categories of mysterious new stuff. Does telexite only come in veins? Looking like it, at least from the immediate vicinity. So let's head down there. Telexite vein. Alright, and that might mean we need vein miners. So how does vein mining work? Or vein mining? You use the special icon. You attach a building and supply it with power. And then does some other stuff. Alright. Well, let's just make a couple of those. And where is it? It's this way. I'm stuck. Alright, so now we just head over this way and grab some telexite. So over we go. And it's not that far, fortunately. Alright, almost there. So the telexite vein is apparently around here somewhere. Is it this? Alright, we need to use the handheld scanner to find a suitable drill point. Okay. Let's start blowing things up. And man, this is apparently larger than I expected. Alright, so we need to blow up, like, here. No, apparently this whole thing. Wait, what am I standing on? Oh, I'm standing next to it. The telexite is apparently here? How does this even work? I'm so confused. Alright, let's just keep throwing explosives around, I guess. And find the edge. Alright, are we even heading in, like, a reasonable direction? Apparently, yes. Where's the... Okay, it's gotta be this one, right? That's the closest. Just gonna keep on blasting through. We might need to come back and grab more explosives. Why is this so huge? Alright, then that goes there. And we're just blasting our way down. Alright. Is this approximately the correct location? Apparently not. Apparently we're not even close. Which is a bit concerning. How far down do we have to go? And do another scan. Alright, we found one. Excellent. So do we need to blast more into this to expose it? Yes. Stop going on the ceiling. Go there. Alright. So now we put this in. It looks like we need even more explosives just generally around the place. Let's do that. And apparently it fits in there. now we need to connect this to the grid, which is going to require a whole bunch of power poles heading up out of this place. Alright, we finished the science robot, and now we are officially only tier 5 science left. Alright, let's make some more power poles so we can continue bringing this up and out. Alright, so now we are out of there. We need a little more height. Just something like that should be enough. And there's that. Not like, did I make the wrong start pad? I did. Of course I made the wrong cargo shuttle start pad. Alright, so we're gonna have to come back for that. But before we do that, let's get the rest of this all set up. So let's get some solar panels in. This way. And power them all up. And power that up. Then we put in the batteries, which are here. You get 3 batteries. You might need more than that, because it's reasonably likely that this miner is going to be much more power intensive than the usual. But we will cross that bridge when we get to it. Alright, so that's that. Then we come down here. And you have a belt. Alright, so now we just need freight elevator Mark IIs. So let's fill that space out. Let these build. And bottom goes in there. And boom. Then we go up to put the top in, which build freight elevator Mark II top. Where is it? It's all the way over here. Alright, and then this can just go in like that, I guess. And then go around like that. Why have you done this? Just build normally, like a normal person. Thank you. Alright, then we just need to bring this belt over to here-ish. Somewhere around here is going to be... No, that didn't work. So we need to get this to not mess up. So you need to go down like that. And then not have any of those, so that we can put in... Okay, get that one out, and then one final slope down. And you get an output. And then we're just going to need to power the inputs and outputs. So let's get this over here. So this comes over this way. And we're just going to need a transformer on this foundation. So let's remember where the transformers are. Where are they? There they are. A small one should be plenty. Have to craft every little individual intermediate. And there we go. And powered on. And then I assume we're going to have to do the same down here. So you have no power, so let's make another transformer. And almost done crafting all the random stuff. There we go. And we just need to get that in. And there we go. So we're gonna have to, I think, upgrade the freight elevators, because I'm pretty sure I made those as Mark 1s. No, I made them as Mark 2s. Good. Alright, so now we just need to see how much power this actually uses. I've cleverly placed all these facing the wrong way. Only 500 kilowatts. That is perfectly acceptable. Okay, now, are they coming out? Yes, they are. Cool. And it is a full belt's worth. That's handy. Alright, so I need to get the correct type of what's it called? The correct type of cargo shuttle pad, not the wrong one. And then we can set that up and have telexite coming into the main base. We're just going to fly over here. Use up more of this. At some point, all of this is going to run out of supplies. But until it does, we're going to rely on it. So we need steel beams and advanced machinery parts. Machinery parts should be somewhere here. And the steel beams are going to be all the way over here. Then we can go into this and craft one of those. Also, can I just grab some electronic components so that I don't have to keep manual crafting them every time? Thank you. Just a couple of those. And now we can start heading back this way. Ooh, I accidentally hit Shift Tab again. The Steam overlay is somewhat easy to accidentally start up if you're trying to fly quickly and then open your inventory or switch your hotbars. God, we are still manual crafting those circuit boards. It was possibly bit of a mistake to not just grab the circuit boards directly. I didn't realize it was this bad. In the meantime, we are going to need more space for this. So hopefully that will be enough space there. If not, we'll have to get creative. Gosh, the stupid circuit boards, man. Why Why didn't I just grab the circuit boards? Alright. Well, we're gonna get there eventually. Only 8 left. And the fact that it hasn't recognized that I picked up electronic components and doesn't need to manual craft them is painful. And almost there. Alright, that's that. Now we just pop that in. And this goes over here. And then down to ground level like that. And this is no power, so we need another transformer, which I thought I had on this already, but obviously I don't. Oh, right, I put the transformer on the other thing. So there we go. Now this is all powered up. And we just put the box in. And let's see here. These get the outputs. And these get inputs. And those run along into there. And then finally this comes along into there. Alright, and then this, I don't think we set up a correct destination for them, but this will be Telexite supplier save. And now, do we have a destination? We do. So we can head over to the main base and set up the Telexite supplier destination pad. And then we'll be all good to go. And then we're going to have to start producing all of the types of science, including but not limited to Telexite, which will be a bit more, it'll be more tedious than anything, like we already obviously have the resources for that. Alright, so let's head over here. And we're going to need to grab more building materials to build a spot for it, which I think will just be back here in like a second row type of deal. So let's go to our supplies section. And so let's just grab all of those. And let's see if we can throw away these assemblers, grab those ones, and set that to there. And let's see, all the rest of these things are on our current hotbar, right? Yes. Alright, so that's that. Now we head over here to make the Telexite supplier. So I guess we start here because there's a bit of terrain over there which might make it a little bit awkward. Alright, so that gets that. And there's that. Goes in. Just there-ish. It's one off. I don't want this to be one off. I want this to be perfect. Which is going to be very difficult to get lined up properly, but I think that is lined up properly in that direction, so we're just going to pull this back. And place it. And no, now it's one off in the other direction. Okay. So let's just try to figure out how this lines up. So this edge here, yeah, so this edge here lines up perfectly with that. So if I can get this to line up perfectly with that edge, but I can't because that's not actually the ground. If I just fly really high up to get a vantage point on it. Maybe that looks good. Yes, that is correctly lined up. Alright, nice. So how does this have no power? How does it have no power? It is on the same foundation as all the rest of these guys. Did we run out of power? Yes, we did. Alright, well that is a problem. So let's make not that many batteries. We need... Let's make some more batteries then. And hook them up. Actually, what we can do is yoink from this one, connect this power pole. I need more power poles. So now we take that, bring its power over here, and we need to get it down onto the foundation, which is the problem. So we need like an immediate point, which we need more building blocks for, because we apparently use like all of them. Wait, no. We have building blocks, we just can't craft more. I was looking at the wrong thing there. Alright, so that comes down that way. And actually, we don't need to bring the power poles, we can just bring these over. Alright, so that is now attached, which means we now have these 3 batteries supplying our entire grid. So that is great. The steam turbines have finally given up, which is probably an issue, but we can solve that just by adding more batteries in. So let's just have a whole bunch of these. And I don't even know if the solar panels are enough during the day. Hopefully they are. We're only like halfway through the night too. Jeez, that's awful. Alright, turns out whatever we're doing here uses a lot of power when it's running. It's the research. Although with the research at the first base slowing down, this shouldn't be much of a concern anymore. Alright, let's see what else can we do? We can make can make more batteries, just so we definitely have enough batteries. And then we're going to have to check to see if the solar panels are keeping up or not. Okay. Now we're at the point where it's still crafting the batteries. And the power grid is probably draining these batteries pretty quickly. 5 megawatts. Oh, it's just going through that one small transformer. Yeah, so you need more. You need at least a large transformer. So we need to grab more resources in order to get that set up. So what are you missing? Plates, components, and circuit boards. Alright, xenoferrite plates. Where are you? Here. Electronic components are there. And circuit boards are here. So let's get just 2 of those large transformers, just to be absolutely sure that we have enough. Alright, then they get powered on. And now the grid is going to drain this even faster. Yep. Absolutely disgusting amount of power being consumed by all of this stuff, which is apparently all on one low voltage grid. What grid even is this? I don't remember there being 17 drone miners on this, but I guess there are. Alright, well that's probably fine. I'm sure nothing wrong will happen from all that. And now we're also going to upgrade the solar panel quantities, which of these is the spare one that has... One of these should have a spare connection, but apparently not. That's fine, we can just set up a new batch. So solar panels, currently missing energy cells, but we can at least place 5 more of these in. And no, stop it, don't do that. So take that connection out so that this can run nice and orderly around like that. Alright, so now when day comes we'll have slightly more solar power to work with. But the grid has failed again. Alright, so I think that what this means basically is our next step has to be solar panel automation. Just get huge numbers of solar panels and batteries. Just make a massive field of them and then never have to worry about this happening again, because this sucks. This is the worst. I do want to at least check once day comes how much net power we have, because obviously at night apparently it's like 14 megawatts, so we need to be making more than 14 megawatts during the day in order to keep up. Which will still be another couple hours, unfortunately. grid. The good news is that power grid failures in this game are not nearly as catastrophic as they are in Satisfactory. Like, everything just kind of works. The solar panels will get things on again when day comes. And yeah, just gotta hold tight until then. And how many batteries do we have in total? So this new batch is 8 batteries. And the old batch is 15 batteries. Alright. Probably want to have like 50 or 60 batteries. We have like almost 50 solar panels. So, let's see, it's 7:15, so day is coming, and with it, power and things can turn back on. And hopefully we just need to expand batteries a little bit, and we're not, like, super far off. Although I think we're probably just super far off, to be honest. But at least we should have Telexite incoming once this whole power situation is resolved. And also our factory looks very cool. It's just really neat looking. Alright. Almost. Transformer short circuit. Ah, okay, so we just need to... We just need to connect this grid to the other high voltage grid, basically. That's just what we need to do. So let's get a couple of large power poles. And we're going to need more cables as well. We don't need 20 of those. Jeez, why are you making 20 of them? It's insanity. Alright, so this... can go along here. And then here. And then up this. And then onto this foundation. And then there. And then power on. Alright. Problem solved. This is now all one high voltage grid. And it looks like we're getting plus 10 megawatts, but we were using like 14 at night. So yeah, we're definitely going to need more power, but that'll be a job for tomorrow or Thursday. Yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Had a good, nice, productive stream here. We've pretty much finished off at least the current phase of building this base. We have more to do. There's always more to do. We need power cells. We need energy cells and science mostly. But other than that, we're pretty much done ignoring the old base and moving into the new one. And yeah, so next stream we are going to seriously work on fixing the power problem. Probably just place like another 100 or 200 solar panels and another like 40 or 50 batteries and call that a day for the foreseeable future. So yeah, that's that. Thanks everyone for hanging around. I will be streaming Foundry again on Thursday. I will be... I might not be, who knows. But I'll be streaming Satisfactory tomorrow from 2 to 5 as usual. And I might be taking another stream off on Thursday. I'm not entirely sure about that, the scheduling, but we'll see. And so yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. And I will see you guys later.